WTF is going on with type 2 diabetes? Why does anybody get type 2 diabetes? And worse, why does just about everybody who does develop type 2 diabetes believe that that is it for the rest of their lives? And why are their doctors feeding that impression and putting them on lifetime courses of drugs when the science is now there? We know what causes it and we know how to reverse it without lifelong drugs. Welcome to SHAPEFIXER. It's WTF Wednesday. Well, it's actually Thursday, but last week I did my Wednesday video on a Tuesday because I was doing it in advance, and this week I'm making up for it. No, actually it's because I was ill yesterday, so I wasn't able to make this video yesterday. Okay, so it's what the Thursday, if that's not a thing. Okay, diabetes, type 2 diabetes. Okay, so let's be very clear that we're talking about type 2 diabetes, which is the version of diabetes that develops over time as a result of poor blood sugar management or maintenance and overexposure to sugar, glucose in the bloodstream from all the carbohydrates we eat, which eventually make us sick, and our pancreas gives up and no longer produces sufficient insulin, which is a life-threatening condition. And so you go on drugs to either suppress the sugar levels in your blood because you don't have enough insulin to do it, or you inject yourself with insulin itself. This is a dietary disease, type 2 diabetes. Okay, type 1 diabetes is genetic, you're born with it, that's a different thing. Probably 5% of all people with diabetes are type 1 diabetic. It might be less, it might be 2%. Most people are type 2 diabetic. If sugar, glucose, high levels of glucose in your blood on a regular basis because of all the carbohydrate meals you eat, if that is pushing up your requirement for insulin to the point that eventually the requirement is too high and you damage the cells in your pancreas, the islets of Langerhans they're called. There are cells inside your pancreas that produce insulin. They become damaged eventually because you are demanding so much insulin to constantly clear glucose out of your blood, because glucose in the blood is dangerous above about 5 milligrams. You should have about a teaspoon of glucose in your bloodstream at any time. Your brain and your liver work together to monitor that, to maintain that. That's the level you should have. And then you eat 60 grams of sugar when you eat 2 apples. I mean, it's just mad. So this is what we do. So we demand huge amounts of insulin, and eventually our pancreas is exhausted and we can't do it anymore. The blood sugar goes up. You can't control it because you can't produce enough insulin. You get very, very sick. You take drugs to wash the sugar out. You take drugs to help safeguard your kidneys because you're peeing sugar out now. You take drugs to boost the insulin, artificial insulin. And then you're told to eat regular carbohydrates, like 5 times a day, eat carbohydrates. Why? Because now you've got all this insulin. You better make sure you've got enough for the insulin to do. So you take an injection of insulin and then you eat some more carbohydrates so that the insulin can clear the carbohydrates out of your blood, because the carbohydrates shouldn't be in your blood. Why are you eating the carbohydrates? What's going on here? Why are we eating them? We don't need carbohydrates at all. I don't eat carbohydrates. I eat no carbohydrates, no starches, no sugars, no fruit, nothing like that, nothing. I'm on an extreme ketogenic diet, the most ketogenic of ketogenic diets. I'm on a carnivore diet. I eat meat and fat. You don't need starches, sugars, whether that's bread, whether that's cookies, whether that's fruit, nothing. You don't need it. Your body just works overtime trying to clear it out again. So if you are sick as a result of a high carbohydrate diet, or eating lots of sugar, or eating lots of cookies, or drinking lots of colas and sweetened drinks and things, if that's made you sick and you've now been diagnosed and you've been put on drugs, how on earth does it make any sense for a doctor to tell you it's very important that you continue eating carbohydrates on a regular basis? What? That's mad. All right, I have a client, a member of this channel, who I would call a friend now, that I'm working with. He's been working with me for 2 months. His name is Dave. Hi, Dave. Dave is diabetic. Dave has been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. He's been put on 3 different drugs, 2 drugs to try and control his blood sugar, and a third drug, which is actually a drug that is normally prescribed for kidney disease, and that is to protect his kidneys because so much sugar is being processed through his kidneys. Because these drugs are taking the sugar out of his bloodstream, because he doesn't produce enough insulin to do that. So the drugs take the sugar out of his bloodstream and push it through his kidneys into his urine, and they're going to damage the kidneys. So now he needs drugs for his kidneys. And he has been told, or at least given the impression, that that's it for the rest of your life. And what happens over time is that it gets progressively worse, and you have to increase the drugs and ultimately change the drugs. He has been on a ketogenic diet for 2 months now, since the beginning of January. Okay, as I'm making this, it's like mid-February, so just over 2 months, let's say 10 weeks. But a strictly ketogenic diet, carnivore diet, within 2 months, his blood sugar, his daily blood sugar that he measures, is right close to the higher level of the normal range. Okay, he was up here somewhere. It's almost completely normal. He has already stopped 2 of the 3 drugs. In fact, the only one he's still taking is the one to look after his kidneys. So he's no longer taking any drugs to remove sugar from his blood. And yet his blood sugar is down near enough to normal in 10 weeks. He's feeling better. He's still having cravings. Sugar addiction takes a long time. He's not cured. He's diabetic. But he's not eating the sugar. That's the point. And he's getting better. Just about anybody with type 2 diabetes can get better in 3 to 9 months. So it depends how sick they were. It depends how long they were sick for. It depends how old you are. It depends on your genetics and how well you recover. All those things. 3 to 9 months. Dave has been not even 3 months yet. And he is so close. He is so close to being able to come off his last drug. It's mind-blowing. This means a lot of things. This doesn't just mean he's going to be healthier and he's going to not take drugs anymore. This means he's going to live longer. Okay, his life expectancy is going to be so much better. Because people who are type 2 diabetic have heart attacks and strokes, and that's what kills them. Most people with type 2 diabetes die of a coronary vascular event. And when I say most, I mean 90%. Okay, the numbers are in the literature. 90%. The other 10%, I guess, die of something else before they've got around to having their diabetic heart attack. The unlucky ones will live long enough before the heart attack that they will lose a few toes, maybe have their foot amputated and go blind. You don't need this. You can get better. You can cure yourself of this horrific dietary disease by changing your diet and cutting out the sugars and the carbohydrates without having to rely for the rest of your life on drugs. So you need to have this conversation with your doctor. And if your doctor doesn't want to have this conversation, I would suggest you find another doctor, because this is an open and shut case. This is science that is now out there and it's not under dispute anymore. You can reverse type 2 diabetes with diet, because it was diet that caused it. Fix your diet, cut out the sugars, go on a ketogenic diet, speak to your doctor. Don't just stop the drugs, obviously. Speak to your doctor, tell him what your plan is and start doing it. And if your doctor thinks that's not going to work, show him. Show him that it's going to work. It's working for Dave. It works. All right, that's my rant for this week. Is what the WTF is the medical industry So doctors, hospitals, pharmacists, what are they doing perpetuating this myth that diabetes is forever? There's nothing you can do about it. You need to be on drugs. You will be on drugs for the rest of your life. The drugs will save you. The drugs won't save you. They don't heal you. They don't make you better. They just drag it all out a bit and cost you a lot of money. Money. I guess that's it. Who knows? Anyway, all right. Thank you. That's my rant for this week. Please subscribe to our channel. I'm going to link a couple of videos down below here in the notes about diabetes that I have made previously. About insulin resistance, insulinemia. These are all sort of the associated issues, and how diabetes comes with insulin resistance, with fatigue, with obesity, with the inability to just about do anything. It's just horrific. It is an absolutely ghastly disease, but it can be reversed. That is the good news.